Did you know that nearly 40% of social phobias begin before the age of 10, while 95% of them start before the age of 20? And the three most common social phobias include meeting people of a higher authority, speaking on the phone, or speaking before a large crowd. So in this video, you're going to learn how to overcome fear, not just any fear, but what is known as social phobias. Hi, I'm Rahul George, Premier Hypnosis Coach and your personal guide. I'm the founder of the Hypnosis system, and it's my life's mission to help midlife professionals conquer their inner fears to live a more impactful life using self-hypnosis. So, as I mentioned a moment before, in this video, I'm going to share 5 ways that are practical and repeatable to get over fears. And possibly, maybe there may be a hack in each of these ways. So, the first thing to consider is habits and repetition. So, typically, when you talk about any kind of a fear, if you think of it as behavior, it's a practiced behavior, which means when maybe for the first time you had a bad experience, let's say as a kid, you were asked to sing a song and somehow you didn't enjoy that experience in front of maybe your relatives or maybe in school. That feeling that you had is something that you do everything in your power from that point on in your life, hence repetition, to avoid it. So either you become quiet or you remove yourself from situations where you have to be amongst many people. So that's the so-called, like, quote unquote, the bad habit. But it isn't a bad habit. It's just a mechanism that you had, a coping mechanism to avoid feeling bad. So here's a hack, right? If, for example, you want to, let's say, start speaking to more people, you want to be maybe not even a public speaker at this point, but if you want to be able to speak to more than a few people at any point in time and feel good doing it, really consider this. And I'm going to give you the formula, right? I want you to test it out and write in the comment below what was your experience when you tested this out. Do it a couple of times, not just once, not just twice, but do it maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 times, and then notice what happens when you're amongst people. So here's the formula. Who am I being dash? And the dash is this good habit, this new habit that you want to create. So who am I being a mentor to a group of kids or people in amongst your family or people at work, right? So the formula is who am I being dash, and in the dash fill in your habit. Ask yourself this question. First step, write it down. Second step, ask yourself this question, and then the third step is just pause to notice what happens inside you. And I'm really curious to find out what was your experience, testing this this hack, right? So the second way that you can shift your way of thinking about a social fear or a social phobia is focus and attention. Think of these as 2 wheels. So you can literally choose where you want to go, right? You either go away from something that's unpleasant, or you can go through something towards freedom and peace. Now here's the hack. Maybe freedom and peace isn't something that really drives you, which is okay. So therefore, what do you want to move away from towards dash? Meaning, so let me say that again. In your mind, if you think, I want to move towards dash and dash, what is that? Right? Is it, peace and love? So being around more people and sharing something that you're really good at, or sharing something that you believe the world needs to know, right? Maybe that's something that you want to move towards. So when you focus on that and you draw your attention towards that, notice how you start feeling in your body, right? And again, don't just take my word for it, test it out. Notice what happens to the kind of person that you start to be becoming, right? And come back maybe once you've done this in a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks, and I'd love to hear what was the difference that you noticed, right? These are all, you may call them strategies or techniques, tools, whatever name you want to give it. But these are all extremely practical ways for you to effortlessly change things that maybe till now have always in your mind, oh, it's like I'm always like this. Not anymore, right? This is one of those ways to be able to get more control or take more control over your own responses. Another thing to consider, right? I don't know if you're aware of this, but we all have inner voices, right? I must say my mom would be proud of the way there's this long-standing joke, maybe I'll talk about that in another video, the difference between the V sound and the W sound, right? If you're interested, leave a comment below and I'll make a video on that. You can probably guess where I'm going with this. So like I was saying, inner voices, simply put, change yours. So if you're thinking of a social phobia, something that really freaks you out, right? You already have an inner voice. Change it, right? How do you do it? Just say what you want to say to yourself and say it in a voice that makes you feel good, right? Maybe it's one extreme where it makes you laugh, or it makes you just feel really special, right? I'm getting a sense that, again, if this is one of those hacks that you want to know more about, I can make a separate video on inner voices. Yeah, and then probably I'll throw in that story of the V and the W sound, and how habit actually can change things in our lives. All right, so the next thing to consider, outer voices, which means if you believe that you have an inner fear, or maybe even a phobia, which is like more extreme than a fear, why not, here's a crazy idea, why not talk to others about it, right? Or better yet, if it scares you, but do it anyway, talk about it on your favorite platform. It may just be WhatsApp, it may be Facebook, Instagram, whatever that you feel more sort of drawn to, right? Like I love YouTube amongst all the channels. So similarly, like on whichever channel that you enjoy, or actually talk to people that you trust, right? Tell them what's happening. And most important, here's the hack. When you're telling them about this phobia or this fear, notice how you feel as you hear yourself talk about you having had this fear or phobia all this while, right? And yeah, most important, once you've done it, please come back here and drop a comment, because I'd love to know how this has made a difference to you. Because remember, this is me making a video for you, and hopefully we will meet someday. But till then, your comment here will really make a difference for me to know what really is working for you. And lastly, breathing. That's the fifth. So just to quickly recap, habits and repetition, which means if you want more good habits, firstly, to create those habits, repetition is something that's really going to make a difference, right? So it's not enough to do your habit once, do it more than once. And typically, if you do it between 3 and 5 times, it's like you're signaling to yourself inside that, you know what, hey, inside me, I'm ready to change, right? And that inside you, that inside strength, that inside voice will reciprocate. It will connect with you and help you along the way, right? The second one was focus and attention, which means if you want to be a certain way, you want to move towards, as I said, freedom and peace, or whatever it is that you really want in your life. When you start focusing on what that looks like, what that feels like, you'll notice that even your habit starts to shift. Maybe it's a little bit initially, but with time, it will start to get really, really powerful. And you'll notice, a much bigger change in you. The third was inner voices, which means we all do have inner voices. And the more you take charge and you decide to change yours, you're actually taking charge for yourself, of yourself. And the fourth, just to quickly remember and recap, the fourth is the outer voices, which means talk to others about what you're dealing with, about what has been bothering you so far. And lastly, right, breathing. If you noticed, there was a moment of silence. I was literally able to slow my breathing down. And, as long as you're not driving a vehicle right now, or, as they say, handling heavy machinery, just notice what happens if you take a nice, long, deep breath and really notice how that was, and contrast and notice what's different. So I do hope that these 5 ways have been practical and something that you can repeat. If you don't, you can always come back to this video. It is going to be up on my channel, so up on this channel. So, definitely come back, bookmark it, share it with others that you feel will really benefit. And last but not the least, I have created this really awesome community. So please join our awesome VIP community, Self-Hypnosis Mastermind, and take control of your inner fears, just like what we've started to do here. Obviously, the link is in the description below, so click the link and I'll see you in our awesome VIP community, Self-Hypnosis Mastermind group on Facebook. And if this has in some way made a difference to you, and you genuinely feel this has helped you and you've come this far, right, hit the like button or share this with a loved one who needs to hear this. Thank you in advance, and I'm looking forward to catching you again on another video pretty soon. So have an awesome day, have an awesome life, and see you soon.